we are live on a global scale.
No.
Yes, it is. It's a global. It's internet. So it could be nighttime in or daytime in China or Malaysia and those places, and some people from those exotic places of the world could be watching us, you know. And we're over here in nice nice hot weather in the beautiful state of Florida. I love our state. How are you tonight?
Happy
Okay,
to be
happy
here
to be.
with you.
Well, let me make a nice little intro because since I don't have an intro, I gotta improvise the intro. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, "How do you do?" And they're really saying, "I love you." We love you, and this is Patio Talk.
We love you.
Patio Talk
We
from
do love
from
you. That's a
from
fact.
sunny heated Florida. Got a nice little fan over here, and because we're in the patio. It's just a nice little setup we have in our patio, the studio patio. We like the vibe over here. We love the sound of the of nature. How are you today?
I'm
You
good,
need to sit
Bernardo.
closer over here, so
You sit
everyone.
closer to me, or
No,
me
no, no,
sit
but no.
closer
We
to.
sit closer to
Oh,
the microphone right here.
see, here's me,
There you go.
married to a worship leader in a church,
There we go. There
and
we
I
go.
never learned about mics except on my when I taught a class or two with the microphone.
You
So I
were
don't
you were
know.
married to a pastor at one time? I didn't
Is a
know that.
worship what they call it in the Protestant churches are is a worship leader. So he leads the worship to God.
You were married to, but not no more.
No, it
No,
finished.
it finished.
Maybe in God's time. Maybe not soon enough for his liking, but in God's time.
Was it fun? Was it good? You enjoyed it?
The first years, I had a lot to learn
About?
about. I think I was really, oh my gosh, about about the present and what's coming in the future.
On a spiritual level.
Spiritual and technological level. He's a sound. I don't sing for shyness, and I don't play an instrument because I learned the clarinet and I didn't like it very much.
Let me ask you a question. How does spiritual and technology understand each other? That's a
That's what I came to start verifying because I knew it. A child, you know it, I know it, Constanza knows it, children know.
Constanza's my wife. Because we were having a conversation before,
Yes.
and we decided that let's not keep the conversation to ourselves and share it with a few
Right.
people.
Children know. We know. And you could. I don't even need any.
You know,
I like the
no,
heat.
but I like the effect that it's giving
Oh,
you in your hair. It's giving you the that.
so, softening because
We're in the patio. We're in the patio enjoying our Friday
I
afternoon in the
love it.
patio.
I love
You
it
know.
here. It just feels like so close to. It's nature and it's
Yeah,
beautiful.
it is. It is. So so
So
so
yeah, children know. Children without the technology, without the official words from. I'm gonna say things. I don't know the proper words to say. Without the FCC or government or world economic views on who owns the ethers or the airs, children across this world, and I'm lucky because I was a nanny before I married for many years. So I've watched not only my own sensitivity and that of my family and community, I got to meet children from our country, my country, which is United States at this time, and the world. And children have uh, a way of, they're not separated yet fully. So they know who to stay away from and who to go towards.
they're not separated from what?
they're not separated from the etheric realms, which could be called divinity and natural.
Right.
And as a Christian, there's other words for it, but it depends on which denomination and which, uh, yeah, it
Right.
depends on so much for the last 6,000 years.
And this separation, at what age do we know that the separation happens and they just completely join us in this platform, this reality?
Well, the thing is there's not one reality as far as where the children are taken and separated from, because the the air and I hope you're going to edit this.
Do it, do
the
it, do it.
air, the air and the ether around. I don't speak about it, but I think in pictures, which is
Mm-hmm.
the future of Chat GPT and everything else. Um, the in and that's why all these videos and films have been taken of us and of the world, because it's being stored. And they can pull so much out of a simple video or a film from a long time ago. They can pull sound forensics out of that. It is said they can even that forensics can even be pulled out of paintings. I don't know about that, but definitely out of films that were being produced before and during World War One. So the children in different, because the air, this thing we call air,
Mm-hmm.
but there was a word called ether long
Mm-hmm.
ago.
Mm-hmm.
Earth is EARTH, and ether is AERTHER. So these are similar if you go back, and that's another topic. Children get a sense when they're around somebody who would harm them, or who might intend harm, or who's a little off, or who is sick. It doesn't mean they want to reject that person. If the child's own soul and mind wants to heal that person, they'll go towards. It's just like they say it's like an animal, but I think we're a little more fine-tuned than animals when we are those natural selves. And your question was, when do we separate or
Exactly.
go in? And I don't think it's the same for all children.
So it's like it's a transition from wherever we come from to this reality, but for children, it's like it's they're not fully here yet, and then until they okay, and then they join us.
Well, yes. And we're young, you're younger than me, so the word suke or psyche is soul. So there existed a world long before the word psychiatry was coined, way long before psychiatrists or psychologists were developed, were long before it became a science,
Right.
a seance. So children, I know that I try to protect, and this psychiatry has a whole world built around this, but some, and this is hidden from us, maybe to develop the new world,
Right.
which was North America and South America, right? We were the new world. Wherever we were shipped from in the old world, this is the new world. And as far as I know, and this still relates to when does a child separate? Some people say 3.5, 3.5, the break. But some children carry it on, and then they're developed. Nowadays, they call them. The children have problems if they still
Problems.
are connected to the
The
sensitivities.
famous autistic kids, for example, autistic kids that
Autistic, Asperger's, but some of that is also being done to genetically recreate life.
right. Give me a second here. Teleunión Latina, uniendo los latinos a nivel global. If you're, please subscribe to the channel. All you need to do is just bang, subscription, and also there's a little bell Yeah, the little bell. You bing, you ring on that bell, and every time that we go live with this topic or a whole bunch of interesting topic, we free with this free press right here. Maybe press is being oppressed somewhere else, but not here. We
Not on this patio.
yeah, not on this patio. At least not on this patio. This is a free press patio.
Free press
Yeah,
patio.
though it's hot.
And he's so
This
amazing.
is it's a heated patio, but it's the other heat. It's the real heat.
It's a good
It's
heat.
it's this. It's the sweat heat. I was talking to you the other day. We were talking about something that is very famous all around the internet. Something called RF. What is it, and how can we protect ourselves? How harmful it is, and
Yeah.
how can we protect ourselves? You know, about this new. It's not new, but nowadays it's just more of this RF enemies. It's probably not good for us.
Well, beyond radio frequencies,
Mm-hmm.
and I appreciate what you asked me. Uh, I don't speak about this, so I usually, I'm one of those people who thinks in pictures. Always have. I'm always a visual artist. My sister was the writer, like beautiful Constanza is, which I
Constanza, my
love.
wife.
I love to receive her texts because
Mm-hmm.
they're like a little poem every time she writes me.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, but I'm a visual person, and it's very hard for me to get my words across. Difficult to get my words across at times. Um, and my friends say that I need to be writing songs because I just hit the point. You know, I don't know how to be politically correct sometimes. So,
Mm-hmm.
radio frequencies, everything's going to change. People are going to have, people who are interested and wondering, and maybe who don't want to take pharmaceuticals or want to figure out what's going on with themselves, their elders, their children, are would do well to start figuring out what radio frequencies are, because it's not across the board uniform within a country or the world. Maybe in the Space Force, and there are space laws. That's what shocked me when I
Mm-hmm.
found out. Oh, because my grandfather in the 40s and 50s was while I was a little girl, while Kennedy was still alive, our President Kennedy,
Kennedy.
he said, my grandfather was saying people went to the moon, and they called him crazy.
Mm.
Now, I don't know if they really went to the moon, but he worked in the tool and die industry in Ohio, and I, he had boxes of papers, which I wish I had right now. I don't know what he wrote, but he said they had been doing things, and I have a sense that a lot of the people in the industrial age were tool and dyeing things for people maybe involved in technologies and travel and other things.
Right.
I am the least alien oriented people person, so I don't know about that. I just talk about what I can,
Yeah.
yeah. And if someone else is a specialist, whatever. So radio frequencies, first define those, and I've talked to people with all kinds of degrees, and they're out in the, I don't get answers. So I had to start approaching it myself.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is comprehending true physics. So few people have that because we've been fed a certain amount, and even you can meet a radio frequency, what do you call it, forensic
Mm.
person, a person who can go in and pluck out sounds out of a video, out of an audio. And even a radio frequency specialist will say, sorry, I don't deal with scalar frequencies. I don't know about that.
Right.
And what's amazing, and there's a really cool guy. Can I give a
Yeah.
reference of
Of
somebody?
course. Of course.
There's
Information.
really cool man. I think I haven't met him. I think I should meet him. I've only emailed once with him. He calls his website "Look Out for Charlie."
Look out
Look
for
out
Charlie.
for Charlie, but it's FA, as if it's in a little bit of slang. So look out for Charlie. Charlie um, talks about this, and I'm quoting him in a way, although I already knew it because I had studied this since my teens and 20s had a, what do they call CB radio.
CB, the
And
CB
I
radio, the
started
famous CB
studying,
radio.
and I still have the tiny little radio that he gave me. Oh my gosh, was that in the early 1970s? 58, 68. It might have been in 69 or 70. He gave
Mm-hmm.
me a transistor radio, and I was so into that. Um, so you know how little young brains think, and I'm like,
Charlie, the whole Charlie thing is from the Vietnam War.
look out for Charlie. He got that because of, yeah,
Vietnam
when there was an enemy,
enemy.
and our the U.S. vets were there, they would say,
Charlie,
yeah, the
the
Charlie.
reference.
Yeah, so
The
I
enemy
was
as
shocked
Charlie.
to find this guy's stuff, but he explained radio. He talked about what surrounds us because people, this is where we have to go now. I think we don't have to, but it would benefit the children and anybody who wants to know. Like he said, if you put your hand in front of you right now, with all the stuff that is whizzing or moving or in uh, fields around your hand, you wouldn't be able to see your hand. Like right now, you could see this, but there is another realm that we do not see.
We do not see.
And he said, if you put your hand up, you put your hand up, I put my hand up, you could see it. And that's the realm that is being disclosed right now. And that's what children know.
So what do we know? So we know that it exists, RF frequencies,
Radio,
radio,
and other
other
disturbances of the ether.
disturbances.
This exists, and there are. It exists, and there are
How,
disturbances.
how sure are we, people who have studied this, that it's harmful for us human?
The disturbances,
Yeah, just harmful because
because the ether exists whether it's being manipulated or
or
not.
not.
And there's amazing people. Is this is gonna sound crazy. This has been known for so long, and I still don't know why we were taught a different physics, even the basics of physics in an American school.
Right.
And there's people getting paid a ton, a nice living, and a nice retirement for teaching the physics that does not explain the
Do,
truth.
do
So, sorry.
Yeah, this is like a for me it's a brand new concept. I know about it. I know, but like this is like my first times really studying the phenomenon. And I know that we all have a responsibility to study it because it's not going away. It's brand new over here. Literally, it's brand new because you said the industrial age. The industrial age.
My grandpa knew.
It's not too far away from us, 100 and something years ago, and basically all these devices are not going away. They're multiplying, and I do hear on the internet, like, be careful, don't put the phone close to you, like don't sleep with your device close to your brain. I'm wondering, is it harmful for the brain? Are we good? Are we protected? Is this protected by, or we really do have a problem, and how do we minimize it? How we learn, maybe? How can we understand it so we can protect ourselves from it? What could we do?
Well, gosh. I've been reading because I'm in touch with people who are doing some forensics, and I'm watching people from other parts of the world who are dealing with the ill effects of certain uses and abuse. I just call it interference of our natural connection to the ether. If there ever such is, I still that's even deeper, and but people are suffering because others covertly and secretly and knowingly are messing with the air, the fields around a person. And that was shocking to me. And then you have to go all the way back to the book Frankenstein and Mary Shelley and, um, you know, all of that.
Like
They knew back then.
there's like deliberately m-
Yeah.
uh, through this radio frequency, like a poisonous RF.
Well, some radio frequencies and radiation, and this is where I think I just posted it on, where did I post it? Maybe on my LinkedIn, because that's been inactive forever, because I didn't fit into the general public,
Hmm.
but I knew what was happening. So recently, I think there are groups of people who are on the inside and on the outside and around and underground and above us, and they're trying to come up with terminology because of course they want to make laws, you know, but right now I don't know. I think, could you repeat the question?
Hmm.
Because I
No,
did want to get off
yeah,
of
I
the,
want to
like,
basically.
yes, there are
So
people
so
do.
so so we understand what we all understand on planet Earth at this particular moment is that there's something called RF. There's radio
Radio
frequencies
frequencies.
all over the place,
Yes.
for sure. Now, this is where skeptics and some people say no, it's all good. It's super safe. It's not a problem. And then once in a while, you hear from mouth to mouth, or word of mouth. I mean, you hear, hey, be careful. Don't when you sleep, grab the device and put it somewhere else. You know, so for example, whenever I hear someone that is that I consider very knowledgeable and professional, and they advise you, it's better to not have that device around too close to you.
Hmm.
So for sure, we acknowledge that the RF does exist.
Yes.
It's here.
Well,
It's here. It's here, and
yeah,
it's here to
yeah,
stay. And we got more of it every day.
yes.
We're the idea is brand new era. The idea is to get what the 7 billion 8 billion humans connected to the internet
Of things.
of things.
And I found an old paper. This shocked me because then sometimes a geek who who finds something and then posts about it, they'll change it. So I was studying some MIT papers and I was like, Internet of Things, and people were things originally. We were things, and I was like, Adam's family, the Munsters. I had to go back to the '60s in the memory. I was like, oh my God, we're just things,
Mm,
and we're considered another numbered thing. I have so many reams of data in this little form right here or around this form.
mhm,
And I found an old sketch that I did in my teens where
mhm.
I had drawn, um, I had sketched and I had drawn formulaic things around the person and other bits of knowledge. And this was in 1974 or 5. So that's what I'm saying. We know, those of us, the artists, the creators, the ones who still know. Um, I don't know why some of us, it's okay. Some of us are just that way. I don't have to guess it or judge it, but we know. And yeah, that's a fact that that's been around us. And
Right.
before we knew the words, it
And
was,
let me
hey, how are you?
let me ask you a question. Vamos a pasar por ahí que estoy en vivo. Um, okay, so say for example, we got a viewer somewhere that understands, that is quite aware of this phenomenon, and they want to say, okay, give us, is there any knowledge, any advices on how to protect us from this particular brand new phenomenon that
Well,
you have researched?
no, I would like us to have our own company.
Our
That
own company?
Yes,
I
I
like
want
that.
you to win. I want you to win, Bernardo. It's your time, honey.
All right, let's
There's
let's
no
let's win.
way.
Let's win.
There's no way. Because I think there's more than one company. I said this. I forgot. I try to document some of the things I that come to me
Mm-hmm.
and have come to me through life. And my stuff is always stolen. Somehow my artwork is stolen. My photos are stolen. People
Mm-hmm.
enter my home. It's real.
Give me a second right here. Give me a second right here. Tell Unión Latina, uniendo los latinos a nivel mundial. Please subscribe to our channel. Right there it says subscribe, and also there's a bell somewhere in here. There's a nice little bell. You click on it, and every time that we're live, you get to see us with our content. You know. And today we're talking about the RF radio frequency,
How possibly to
yeah,
protect from them.
and how possibly we can protect. How are we good? Are you because we can't prove
No.
anything. Are we is this little
Isn't-
place right here protective?
Not enough.
Not enough. Not enough.
Not enough.
Okay, so what do we know about the things that we could do to protect us more
Yep.
from this brand new phenomenon called radio frequency?
Well, there are. Once I figured out certain things, and this is the new way. This is nice to see you, honey. This is definitely the new thing, and I've been hearing recently from a lady in Ireland who's giving a lot of information. I've been asking for jammers, and I heard they were supposedly illegal, that they jam certain radio frequencies.
The word is jammer, so we can look it up.
Yeah.
Okay, how do we
jammers.
spell that?
Jammer. Jammer or jammers.
RF
Radio
jammer.
frequency jammer.
Radio frequency jammer. I'm gonna. You see, I learn every time I do. I learn something. This
You
one is
knew about.
No, I did not know about this one. Not a jammer. Like, I knew about. There's some people who are somehow protecting their house,
And their bodies.
protecting their house, bodies.
Therefore bodies.
I've seen it. I've seen helmets, not helmets, but like caps. They're making caps.
Yeah, those have been around for a while.
But jammers, I've never heard that.
Yeah. Well, I asked someone who is like, it's very funny the people you speak to when you're trying to piece this together if you don't have the lingo. A long time ago, my sister was engaged to a young man from India, whose family's from India, and his father. A beautiful kid named Vince, and Vince's father was an oncologist and a hematologist. It was fun to visit his home because I always thought I'd be a doctor. And his mother was what do you call it, with anesthesiologist. And Vince is a brilliant kid. I think he became a pilot. My sister did not end up marrying him, but they were fun and they're still friends. And he said, Dee Dee knows what she's talking. Dee Dee knows, like me. And he said, all you have to do is know the lingo. And that's when I realized the way they've gotten away with not talking about the ether and the disturbances in the ether and the fields in the ether and the interferences that hit us and the warping of what's around us is by everybody having a different lingo. Like, that's part of it. Like, in Russia they probably have their own terminology, and Cuba, they have their own terminology, although I have a whole theory on that. That's what I got the information on the other day by piecing things together. English and other languages. So everybody keeps their information to themselves, and so that's part of what I think is true.
Let me ask you a question. So, conspiracy theory,
That's-
people. Okay, conspiracy theory.
No, it is.
Yeah. Okay. So I keep on hearing the word no, because they for who exactly is they? Is they is for example,
Yeah.
if you if I got asked who is they, I say, well, they is money. They
Yeah.
they is the power of money.
Yes.
You know, they is us. Basically, they is us. Ambitious people. For me, at least for me, very ambitious people that that just because they want to make money, they are pushing a lot of stuff to us. They, including pharmaceutical stuff,
Oh,
that they
the
that they know that maybe it's not that good, but since it got approved, they are looking the other way, and a lot of garbage, poisonous stuff.
oh my
It's
gosh.
legal, it's legal, and at least for me, this is what because sometimes they well they and people who exactly is they, and
Exactly.
they is us. Basically, is the is some
Some
humans,
some of us,
some of us that should say the truth, but instead for keeping the job,
or losing my teeth,
for many
or for
reasons,
damage to
you
the
know,
body.
they say, well, everything is fine, and they know that everything is not fine, but because of salary, I mean, I'm talking about scale of. It doesn't have to be the owner of a corporation. It could just be workers that say, well, you know, I'm working on this. I developed this. I don't really have the knowledge. I don't really. I really haven't done like the studies, and but it got approved. So I'm just gonna look the other way, and they are not being, you know, some of our brothers and sisters are not being.
Yeah. Well, I feel really lucky to be alive right now because I was dead a few times. Starting in my childhood, I had convulsions and seizures. And I started studying something called lily waves, and that rides on the electricity that was done by John Lilly. And I think some of the communities in America and maybe other places that had electricity during the industrial age had waves and frequencies. Then they say waves of what? So we have a lot to talk
Talk
about.
about.
As long as you're
No, no,
interested,
no.
we
Yeah,
can
we.
do
This
this.
is the reason why we need to
So
we're.
you've got to differentiate what's
All right.
electricity, what's dielectricity, what is radio, what are scalar waves, and this is the
Let me
beauty of being alive right
let me
now.
ask you a
It's
question.
a beauty
Let
of
me ask you a question
beauty
because
and
I
luck.
have not asked you this question to you. First words that come out of your brain. Who is Nikola Tesla to you?
Well, I think I think he's being made a hero. This is part of the rollout. He was, if he really is a Serbian, and I had a really cool ozone guy come and stay with me when I was trying to figure out ozone, O3, O4, all the way up to O10, etc. I was really, because first of all, do no harm. If you consider yourself a doctor or a good mother or a good person, just do no harm to yourself or others. And so when I go to study something, before I can share it with someone, I'm like, okay, give me everything you can get. So I had this Serbian fellow I met from Ohio. He came down and he was selling ozone oil and ozone machines. I can't remember. I probably have some old emails from him. Nice kid. And I had an extra condo and he came and stayed there and in Boca Raton, Florida.
Florida.
And yeah, so we talked about Tesla because I figured anytime anything becomes popular or all of a sudden it's you're not supposed to talk about it, but people want to, you know how kids.
Nicholas Tesla's the
Nikola
man,
Tesla. Yeah,
the man, a man that invented.
he they say he had access to the Vatican files. His father was I think they were Orthodox Christian, as far as I know. But I think it's being rolled out because they're waiting for this rollout. So what we're saying is really, um, it's expected that it would come out.
In your perception,
In
was
my
in mind your
perception,
perception was he? Is he good in your book or
well, originally, yes. Originally, all I could find, yes, he was good because um, here's a for I have old I have old notes on my studies of light from preteen, from teens, my teens. And then I had done facial. Women can do facials with this thing called high
Yes,
frequency.
I've seen it
I
done.
have a
I've seen
machine.
it done. I've seen it done. I've seen it
And
done.
I started studying this as a kid. So then, how do you explain to someone you've read about this in the 70s, but there was little available because I just had to go comb through books in libraries. It's weird, and how do you explain certain things? So that's the other whole thing I need to do separately. But Nikola Tesla seemed like a cool guy.
Like a cool guy.
And it seemed like, wow, he was close to his his own soul. And then you find out certain things, like he lived alone in a hotel, and there was a bird on his windowsill, and just he was eccentric.
Very
But
colorful.
yeah,
He was
yes, he was handsome, and then he became very lean and thin, if the pictures are correct. But then you start saying, why is this guy who seemed kind of esoteric and just for, you know, why is he all of a sudden being pushed forward?
What's
And
the agenda?
yes. And then I realized, wow, all of physics that we are told is basically a deception from the true physics of how the 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 realm I live on and was born was conceived, because I was conceived of a mother and father, not in a petri dish or in a lab, as far as I know. I really no, really,
No, no, yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's true. I mean, you have to say this crazy stuff, and this is where we can do the humor, because he's got the best humor. Um, and you're like, yeah, as far as I know, I was born from a mother and father and conceived here. And how did that happen? How did a little spark this and this and this? And then kids question. And then when I was studying, like, why was I studying light in my preteen and teen years? What made me want to do that? Was that my own free will? Or did someone decide, okay, that kid came from that family, so we're going to feed her some information with radio frequencies or lily waves or whatever? So I've got a lot of strange stuff that is so easy to piece together once we go make little chapters.
So that's pretty interesting that you were, you know, that here we are, we're in the 2020,
Yeah.
2024, 2020, and you as a young child, you were already tapping into stuff that were not even.
I think it's
It was
because
completely science fiction back then,
I didn't
and
even.
you're calling you. It's like
Well, no, I was being very scientific. I had to prove things to myself. Burned the skin off my face once with a lamp. I didn't mean to, and it grew back. But now I just tell people this is scar tissue that you see here. But maybe it's because my grandpa, I was a child allowed to sit on his bed. He died. My grandpa died at age 56 of, of cancer, colon cancer. And, they don't tell kids things, but I was allowed to sit on his bed because he was.
so so
You want to do a,
so
a,
grandpa
a
so
breakaway?
grandpa so grandpa was an influence to you, someone
Yes.
who
Yes. I
who
think
somehow
yes.
somehow had something to do with tapping you, say, and
I
letting
think,
you into
yeah.
to a different reality than the one that was lived
Yes.
back in those days.
Yes. And
That right now it's just
he spoke Hungarian to me, and they say Hungarian is kind of a mysterious language. And he spoke Hungarian to me. And so I think I was bilingual by 3.5. But when he died, when I was like, I think right before Kennedy, I have to look that up. And it was like my whole family shuttered everything. So I think he imparted. I think there's like the goodness and other thing. I think he imparted knowledge. I think there's an impartation if you have people in your family,
like
and it's genetic. And there's they talk about epigenetics, and there's all these other terminologies of this layers of knowledge that come out from inward and outward of this
mhm,
form.
mhm.
you know, our bones
So
are, you know,
so so
I
so
think there was,
Grandpa was a big influence
you're,
in the
he's so kind, a
yeah
good interviewer, have him
right.
interview you.
So but Grandpa passed, and your
Yes, I
family just
lost my
you
language.
lost you
I
lost
lost my
the
language.
language.
And that was the language that I think was for science for me and many things. And I had to I didn't refine that until the year maybe 99. I didn't figure out that I'd lost my language, my music, my dance that came with that culture. And
Hmm.
that's part of the knowledge. And this confusion we live in right now, I'll get back to Tesla. I don't know. I think he stuck to his own. I think he knew himself when he came to United States and lived in New York City.
Hmm.
And Constanza loves New York
Hmm.
City. I love New York City. It's built on rock. It's granite. It's solid. It's
I
got a
think,
lot of
yeah,
energy.
I think he did good. I think Tesla did good because when all the scientists they were selling themselves out for money, you know, Tesla, he just even though his work was not recognized, it's taking many years for now is when people are saying, hey,
Yeah,
this colorful guy.
but I started asking myself, why are they allowing this? When I say they, I mean it's the people who have access, and some, I think some care for the general population, and some are afraid of the general population becoming too knowledgeable. That's all I mean, that's oversimplified. But um, why is it becoming so popular? Because as soon as something becomes popular, you start going like, I've never been one to go with the crowd. Just I went to 13 schools by the time I entered seventh grade. So you had to learn who you were when you're traveling around and know it, trying to fit in.
Right.
So, uh, you know, um, I was like, why did I get moved around, and it was it for my safety or for, just because.
Let me ask you a
So,
question. So you're very, very, very sensitive human. Very sensitive. Very
yeah,
sensitive.
it's funny.
Sensitive means just pick up on a whole bunch of stuff that not the common person can pick up on.
Maybe I do. Maybe.
Okay, say
You,
is
you can,
say
I'll
say
take it.
say say is my perspective of you.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Okay,
Because
say this is my perspective of you. My understanding of you. You feel something is brewing. Something. I keep on seeing so much info on the internet. For example, I keep on seeing like so much info about like a new era, like uh,
oh yeah.
like beings from other places.
Well, as
You
far
know, it's in your perspective, is something brewing? Are we close to a new era? Your perspective, my
but
perspective, my
please
perspective.
tell me first,
Okay,
because I
okay.
don't.
Here's my perspective. I think something is brewing. Uh, the news is getting louder and louder on a national and international level. That at least, for example, we're not alone. We're not alone. We're not alone in this
May I
infinity.
turn this away from me
Okay,
a little bit? Just a little bit.
that's a
Thank you.
little bit. Though I like the effect that it does in your hair.
Oh, it helps
Yeah,
soften,
no, it
soften.
just you look like a rock star, like the rock star that you are. Um,
You're the rocks. You're the star.
so this is my perspective. I see so much, and I feel that we are. I think we're so close to. I see how, how it is that the human race is so close to doomsday. You know
Could you
because
tell me doomsday when you're
doom
finished? Yeah.
doomsday is the end of our existence, you know because of obviously the amounts of deadly weapon that we have invented, you know and then the vibe is turning, you know so much about like that we're not alone. So I see that we for sure. I believe that we are close to something, a new era that is going to just change the whole entire existence forever, and I think we're gonna get to see this one in our lifetime. To me, I think in our lifetime we're gonna get to see something that I would say, I wish my dad was here.
Oh, I wish your dad were
I
here.
wish my dad and
I wish
I
my
wish
mom.
my
Oh,
father was huge on and and he
oh,
he passed, but
really bad.
I wish he was here.
What is that? Twitter
Nah,
thing?
that's one of them notices.
Okay.
So from your perspective, I gave you my perspective. I
Thank
think
you. Thank you.
I think
I want
I
to interview you.
I think we're close. I think something is really brewing, and I think that we're not gonna do it. We're not gonna. There's no doomsday. I think before we do that, I think yeah, I think we haven't gotten this far for us to destroy something so beautiful like the human race. That's my humble perspective from this from heated Florida.
Wow, you said so much. I have to go back over this, and then we'll do a reaction video to our video. And because I could pluck out so many things. I don't think there's one human race. I don't perceive, in my experience, that there's one human race. I think, as far as I can tell, as far as I can tell, there's not one. I think there are, because race means racine, means root. From French, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Latin,
Mm-hmm.
racine. What is the word root in Spanish?
Cimientos, los
Cimientos.
cimientos.
Yeah, there's, I think there's more than one tree and more than one root, but maybe the root system's intertwined in this plane or realm. Oh my gosh, there's a guy whose data I lost because my MacBook Pro was hacked. So, but he's got amazing stuff on roots and trees and life. But so I don't think there's human race, but I think there are people and literal people. Those are who they are, who want there to be one race because it's easier to manage one race. One rust. If you mix everybody up and they're all intertwined and makes one big beautiful tree, it's easier to prune, it's easier to clip, it's easier to manage. Now, I could be so wrong, and I don't mind being proven wrong. Absolutely. But there's a guy named Elon Musk.
Mm-hmm.
He said he's a speciesist, like a species.
Mm-hmm.
So he called himself a speciesist versus like this Sam Altman guy from, OpenAI, and there were some others. So there's different factions who are, you know, they don't believe in doomsday, but their end is a different. They have different endings to their beautiful world they're creating with all the technologies.
How do you like to be called? Diddy?
Sure. Yeah, I guess so. But I was taught by this other guy. I could give you so many. Should I give some things that people can,
Do it, say it.
if they really ever saw
You know,
this?
freedom of
There's a
speech
guy
channel.
named there's a few that keep coming up. There's earlier when you were talking about Tesla. There's a man named Ken Wheeler, and he has a website on YouTube and other places um, called Theoria Apophasis, Theoria Apophasis, APO Phasis, Phassis.
What does it mean?
Let Ken explain it. Theoria Apophasis, but it's kind of like the word apocalypse.
Apocalypse. Okay.
Apocalypse.
Apocalypse.
Apocalypse now will freak you out forever if you ever watch the whole movie. But apocalypse, to me, the way because I studied the basic Greek, because I thought I was Greek. My dad, Dallas is my last name. So I was very into Greek and taught myself basic Greek to spend a summer in Greece. But I took apocalypse to mean eucalyptus,
Eucalyptus.
calyps, leaves, but apocalypse, remove, I say it this way, I know people will correct me and blah, 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 I don't care. But removing of the covering, removing of the leaves that are covering the truth. Apocalypse. So, what were we saying? His name is Theoria Apophasis. So, apophasis. So, look it up. Study. You got homework to do.
Got
Stop watching.
homework.
Stop watching football.
Got homework to do. So this segment.
That's for
Uh,
Tesla.
all right. So this segment. So you can watch out for this segment because we're gonna do plenty of this one. This one is called Patio Talk. Because
Okay.
why? Because we do this one in our
I
patio.
love this patio.
We start talking, and next thing you know, I say, well, I'm gonna turn on the cameras, we'll turn on the microphones, or we're gonna have a nice little patio talk over here. Because I don't think we should keep this to ourselves.
Really?
Yeah, and there's a whole bunch of. The idea is that she we say a whole bunch of little words, and you said homework, that we can investigate that
Yeah. Yeah,
that
it's not-
I'm gonna
yeah.
go take a look at.
Yeah.
So that's the idea, and share the video if you like it. Subscribe to our channel. Become a member of our patio talk movement.
Yeah.
Patio talk,
That's good, honey.
patio talk, so we can. There's so much going on
Just
in the
get
world.
on with life
so
and make
so
it
much
better.
going on in the world, and
Yeah.
sometimes no one has answers for you. Like the experts. Nobody knows anything. So we're not experts over here, but at least we want to at least talk about it, and and just a place where we meet and just talk about stuff. You know what I'm saying? We here talking about it, and you guys, and you can also comment.
There's people can
You know,
watch
comment. You can comment. And maybe your comment could be the beginning of something new, because that's the idea of the internet. You leave one cool comment, and we take a look at it, and you point us to the right direction, and next thing you know, you made our our future episode with your content. If we are on the right, if we are on the same page, and the same page is not. We don't know. We don't know. We don't have no. There's no answers. Even the experts don't have no answers about so many things that no one knows. No one really can tell you. We just went through a COVID-19 moment, and we don't know. There's so many things that we don't know, but we
Oh, but you don't know. Some things I know.
yeah, but we can imagine some things, but basically there's no organization in the world coming
Right.
around and making themselves responsible for a lot of stuff that we see today.
That's what's forming now.
Okay. So
And you're part of it. You're part of it.
When no one is taking a blame for bad things or responsibilities, no one knows, and all we can do is just unite us and have a forum conversation, just talk. And maybe in just by having a line of conversation, maybe we can just understand, and you know how it is when say for example some people get lost, some people got lost at sea or whatever, or and then years later their bodies are
Lost
found.
at sea?
Yeah, bodies are found, and then
Or they're alive and they're
the-
found.
and then they make this funeral or whatever, because we like closure. We like closure to oh, so and so, we make a formal a ceremony, and we like a closure. So many things are being done at this particular moment on a global level, and we can't. There's no closure to it. No one is taking responsibilities for a whole bunch of bad actions that are taking place.
That's another whole series.
Right, right. So we're in the dark here. We're in the dark here. So but all we could do is just speak about it. Just speak about it. Talk about it, and join the conversation in the comments. Your opinion counts. Oh, your opinion counts on this on this platform right here, and you never know. Your opinion could be the topic of our next patio talk right here. You leave your phone number. We what's up, and you want to join the conversation? I could get you in here. I can literally get you in here from wherever you
Oh
are.
my gosh.
You could be in Thailand. You could be anywhere in the world. You send me the WhatsApp number, and we make an episode over here, and I'll get you on the phone so you can you can give your opinion on.
And you don't have to show your face. You might just want to share your voice and
No,
your
there's a
thoughts.
voice. I I can get four people in here. Voice. I have the technology to get a whole group of people over here, just joining the conversation.
Yes. We're interested in radio frequency information, jammers, who's got 'em, who's got something developing.
Yeah.
How are we going
If
to
we're
reach
interested in information and
health
just
and beauty?
helpful information in such a weird time for the human race where no one can tell you for certain, no, this is this is good, this is bad. We're uncertainty, a lot of uncertainty. We just saw it in
Yeah.
this whole COVID-19 moment where we were all locked in our houses and just a whole bunch of uncertainty. And I don't think that's healthy for the human
Well, what
race.
were you saying? You felt like when we were talking about uncovering the leaves, apocalypse, things being. You were saying there was a term you used that we're at the, oh, not like the end of the line, but there was a word you used. We're at the.
A new beginning, a
Yeah,
breakthrough, a
there
new.
was something you said where
Yeah.
we'll go back over. I'll go back over this, and because what I figured out, at least in my lifetime, people's mentality meaning their energy around them and their brains and their nervous systems were already being affected in the 19. It could have been World War I. I am so blessed to some of the people I've talked to that were in military. I love listening to the old stories. Um, you've heard of shell shock when the men had been to war and they came back. Like you can see black and white videos on shell shock. They called it. Like the. Were like, you know. So we have been affected by weapons and radio frequencies and radar and radiation for a long time. And we are generationally affected, and perhaps some have advanced. And sometimes, right now we don't know.
Let me stop you there for a second.
Yeah.
So, generational, like, the stuff, the harmful stuff that was done to the human race in World War I. You think that carried on to the next generation just because
frequency wise, this is the
frequency-wise.
whole subject of frequencies, of what's in the ether, in the air around us, and written in our bones. Because there's a term called piezoelectricity. They call it piezoelectric. It's on one of my blogs. And I go to chiropractic conferences. My chiropractor lasted longer than my marriage.
Hold on one second. This is something that
Yeah.
we've talked about many stuff, but we have not talked about your. You said you like to blog in Lincoln. What's it called?
I just started posting. I had a LinkedIn because I accidentally signed up for it when I was volunteering.
That's how we find you only
Yeah.
in that particular platform.
I'm just
At this particular moment,
there.
you're not on Twitter or.
I am on Twitter, but I don't post there.
You don't post it.
I say hello once in a while so they don't close me down. Although most of the stuff I posted has been, what do they call that when they remove the links? Whatever. It's been edited, not by myself. um, not by myself.
Not by you.
No. And then I did start blogging, but I was concerned because I knew the blog would be taken down, so I was very cautious of what I wrote. But I kept them active. I had one in 2013. But as long as you post happy, new agey,
It's all good.
yeah, you can get it's good. But as soon as you get to close to like provable fact, it's like
Yeah, it's
And so it's okay. It is
it's
what it
okay.
is.
It's fine. It's fine.
And so now this is one thing. Um, I have to go back over this because I was approaching a topic, and there are several topics to pull out of this. But um, I think what has happened when someone says, "Okay, should I end with this?" I don't. Or you want to edit and start over?
No, do it, do it, do it.
There's something called C, letter I, and A.
Oh, oh.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I know we have a lot of jokes, but
Yeah.
it just so happened. Well, oh, that's a sidebar of, yeah, about the whole church. But I think, as far as I can discern, since Frankenstein and before, there are groups of people, and they operate behind all the religions
Hmm.
that we have nowadays, all the branches. And I had a whole map of all the branches underneath what's called Catholic and Christian. Catholic means universal. I don't know if you know that. So, so there's Catholic, Judaic, and Islam, as far as we know. But there's another whole group of people that operate, and like it's a big joke to them, and because they travel the world and they're blessed, and but they care, and that's who they are. They care, and they care about their families, and they care about people. And there's other people who, little less kind, or a lot less kind. But as far as I can discern, intelligence is what we call God. We are, what operates the world, right? So I think, as far as I can discern, there's a group of people before, during these major world wars that we are known about, and even before, let's say the last 5,000-6,000 years, they wanted to figure out or create and control intelligence, whether it's God or God's creatures, humans and animals. So they experiment on the lower animals, and they also experimented on humans for as long as they could, in castles and things, way before labs developed in universities. So they were trying to create a central intelligence to figure out God's mind through us. Sounds crazy, but
No.
and by gathering as much suke or soul as they could, whether they were eating of our energy, that's another whole story, and gathering the information from every single mind they could gather it from to create a God force. They're man-made. Or some people are not considered man. Some people consider themselves walking gods. That's another story. So yeah, I think Central Intelligence Agency is just a little piece of what's really going on. Everyone likes to blame, I'm sorry, it's all these alphabet things.
A lot is going on. A lot is going on, but for sure,
It's just fun.
yeah,
As long as,
your opinion counts.
yeah,
The comments,
yeah.
please join us in our chat,
So
and
subscribe.
subscribe.
Because he is amazing, and
Yeah.
he's got so much to
Yeah,
offer.
the idea is to talk. Just the idea is just to talk
Because we're feeding this
Yeah.
ether, and the more we can bring correct.
I think a
Yeah.
lot of growth happens. A lot of growth happens when we speak, when we grab those thoughts from within and just let them out. And basically
Well,
that's
intelligence.
part of the I think that's part of the
Intel.
healing process. The healing process of
Oh.
understanding.
You're gonna love Greta Fahy from Ireland. Greta, gee, and because I know there was that other Greta, that poor little girl that they're parading around. She was a psyop to hide Greta from Ireland.
Yeah.
Gretta. You call her a little
Yeah,
leprechaun. Little leprechaun. She's like
yeah.
this tiny little.
She's all upset.
But she's
Poor
adorable.
lady. This
Because
is a young child. She's so upset, but
she's so sweet
but you know what? But
and
she,
funny.
even though maybe I'm not on her same page, but yeah, you still understand. So only one person made such an impact on the world.
She
But
did.
poor lady.
She's doing it.
She's doing so.
But no. But no. The one Margareta. Her name is Margareta.
Marga, Marga,
Margareta.
Margareta.
Margareta, like Saint Margaret, which I love because I went to the school Saint Margaret's. I loved it. I always loved Saint
Margareta.
Margareta Fahy, and they gave her the nickname Greta. But she's from Ireland, and I don't have her exact. But she's so public. She gives out her address and her phone number because she is horrified and terrified because she's been targeted by all these frequencies and everything. So Margareta Fahy and Margaret Mary, I think, but that's an old Catholic thing. Margaret Mary, but Margaret in Spanish, Fahy. She's just a wonderful person and funny. At first, I had to see, is she an actress? Is she being paid? Because I don't necessarily agree with her politics, etc., that it would create the perfect world. But women like her and men like you are creating the new world. The voices
By
that,
talking,
yes,
architecting,
yes,
constructing, architecting,
yes,
constructing, just by talking,
exactly.
just by talking.
We are creating because this is where I was going with central intelligence, because so far, mostly what we've had is left brain. We have to build out the right brain now.
The right side of the brain.
The left brain and the left and this and that. And I'm using these words, izquierda y derecha. You can say it in Spanish.
Derecha, izquierda.
Yeah. One half of the brain got built out because those were the people in charge of all these programs and projects.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the rest of the people are going to be like, and the left is so mad, left brain, left side, or certain sides, even though part of it crosses over, which is fun. You've got to study the brain. It's amazing. And the other part of the people who've been silent and moderating themselves and medicating themselves and shutting up and not speaking, they want to go like, all of a sudden, I think something's going to lift off. And the beauty of the whole brain, that's why this is coming out now. Because what's been in charge of Google, Chat GPT, I would say since the 1930s, because Elon Musk's grandfather was part of it. I don't know. I believe that's true. Even though people are trying to dispute it, I found that maybe 15 years ago, because my adopted dad's from Canada, and he worked on the directed DEW line. They called it the DEW line in Canada. And so I studied a lot of that stuff. And he was part of what they call the technocracy, that engineers were going to take control of things. I mean, those guys, they studied calories. They decided energy in, energy out. What are you worth as a human being? How do we just do that? It's crazy, this stuff.
Did you hear the one?
So whole brain.
Did you hear the one about the first guy on the scene when Nikola Tesla died?
Oh yeah, Mr. Trump.
Mr. Trump.
John was his name. John.
The uncle.
The uncle, Mr. Trump's. He was our president in the United States. President meaning head of the corporation, United States, and yeah, I don't know. I don't understand that poor guy. That guy has been through heck and back, worse. But yeah, I heard that. What do you know about that?
No, I just it's kind of
beautiful and
and
strange.
The first guy on the scene, the guy that picked up all the belongings.
Yes.
All his important belonging was Uncle Trump.
Yeah, Uncle to Trump. Yeah, and that's what I heard. And that is all related to what we're talking about and building out the other part of this massive intelligence. These supercomputers. As a girl told me in Spain, it's called the monster computer. these databases of all of us having our own little slot in the wall with a tablet of our whole lives, with our avatar being able to pop out. Some of us probably right now, he's got an avatar, I've got an avatar, that are being effed with, messed with, and or monitored. But I'm glad we met. You've got some you've got some work to do.
All right, guys, this will be the end of this episode. But hey, coming up next, Lady and I will be here again, and giving you another episode of Patio Talk.
Patio
Not
talk.
just Patio Talk. So your opinion counts, and hope to see you on our next episode. And join us, okay? Thank you. Thank you for watching.